Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that if you're returning. How you doing? What we're going to be talking about today is defining your disaster when it comes to being of the prepared mind. Okay. Until I seriously became someone of the prepared mind, the most likely disasters in my life, and I'm being serious, I'm being real with you, was breaking a nail or my husband insisting on a homemade dinner. Okay, I'm serious. And wow, how times have seriously changed. Now, when I think of disasters, I'm thinking more along the lines of the end of days scenarios with an unsettling feeling that they can happen at any time in my lifetime. You know, for which disaster or disasters should I prepare? These days of hard, uncertain times, it's a little like playing the odds, right? Should I prepare for a nuclear attack? If so, I'll need enormous amount of sheet plastic, duct tape, and I read somewhere that you're better protected from a fallout if you have a few feet of earth piled up against the outside of your walls. But really, it is my very first concern a nuclear attack? No. The odds are much better for a dramatic increase in crime, riots in certain parts of our city. I mean, we live in Tampa Bay, you know what I mean? So, when you live in a big city, that's, you know, concerning, right? Even peaceful protests that suddenly become violent. Even better odds favor a continued deep decline in income, higher taxes, possibly losing our home to foreclosure. Even though I never miss a mortgage payment, loss of income, right on. It just makes sense to first define the most likely disasters and then prepare for each as best as you can. Since the catastrophic event most likely to affect us is loss of income, that's where my focus has been, right? So, some time ago, you saw it, I turned my dining room into a pantry, right? And my goal has been to store at least a year or so worth of food. Now this translates into a year margin where I wouldn't have to go and spend money on groceries. And I've also fought hard to save every penny that I possibly can. If we've lived in an area that we're prone to earthquakes, that would be near the top of my priority, right? Urban dwellers may put personal and home protection at the top of their lists. If you've been into the survival mode for a while, life changes over time, and so will your concerns, and so will your priorities. So it's worth taking a second look now to see if your prepping needs adjusting. So here are just a few possible disasters to consider. And just think about them, because which ones are most likely to affect you, right? Natural disasters like Mother Nature at her worst: wildfires, floods, earthquake, drought, hurricanes, right? Personal disaster, loss of job, decreased work hours, illness, injury affecting your ability to work, family members moving in, okay? Nuclear events, including but not limited to EMP, right? Terrorist attack, use your imagination, right? Because they certainly do, right? Social unrest, riots, carjackings, increased violent crimes of all types, right? War, any kind, biological catastrophe, spread of illness, either purposefully, natural spread, something contagious, doesn't matter, right? Now, after thinking it over and talking with my husband and family members, here is a list that I actually wrote for my family. Okay, the number one is loss of income, loss of home, an event of any kind that occurs while my family members are scattered at different locations around the city or even around the world, because remember, my son is a Marine. Okay. The next one is violent crime against any of either my, even though my children are adults, I also have grandchildren, and I also have my niece and my nephew too. Remember, they're 13 and they're 9. So remember that. Okay. My children, my husband, myself. Okay. Flooding, because I do live in Florida. Hurricanes, right? Flooding. Massive failure to the power grid. Okay. Now, with some planning and prepping, you realize you have more control over how these events will affect you, yours, your family than you might think. The key is to identify likely calamities and then take action. Fortunately, prepping for one event gives you a head start. Prepping for additional events saves time and saves money. Simply taking just a few steps, even just one step, gives you light years ahead of millions of other people. And I believe it'll give you and your family some peace of mind no matter what happens. So ask yourself, what is number one on your list? Okay? All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less.